Bada boom, bada bang.
Live, we're back.
Miraculously, we're live. Julie's not kept hostage anywhere. She's just traveling.
Live from New York over here.
It's like something just about the background makes
The
it seem
setup.
like like you're in a hostage
It
situation.
looks like I'm in a basement, but I'm really not. It's just like the weird angle that I have going on here. But I was like, I might as well go into a bedroom where there's carpet so it sounds as good as possible for all
Yeah.
the people listening. I don't have my normal mic, so I apologize in advance, but hopefully I sound okay. I'm also super sick, so really showing up in a good place right now.
It's like last week was like the after
Yeah,
the bachelorette voice, and this week is
no,
like
I'm
after travel voice.
full on like sickness now. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
here because we can't not answer people's questions. This is how devoted we are.
Wow, she is committed, y'all.
I'm
She is
committed, committed.
committed. Well, I think no, it's nice to hear from you because I haven't seen you since your bachelorette. It's been so long.
We totally talked on video after the Bachelorette, literally like
We did.
Wednesday of last week.
We did. We
It's
did.
been 4 days.
This feels so long. It's like, oh my gosh. What do I do with myself? How is New York? Is it raining right now?
It is raining. So I
Yeah.
was in Scars, like in Westchester County, more that
Mhm.
direction. And now I'm in New York City. And yeah, it's super cloudy and rainy, but it's all good. It's gonna be really nice. And to be honest, I prefer this over super hot. I'll take it any
Same.
day.
Yeah, better than like a little humidity.
Yeah. I'm like, I could do New York. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here and, gonna hit up some bookstores. Already went to a Barnes and Nobles in Hartsdale at the beginning of the trip, so I'll give them a shout out. They were super sweet and had me come in and sign some copies and ordered some
Yeah.
extras, and they'll have them for display. So if anyone is in Westchester County and wants a signed copy, please go and check them out. And then New York City, I'll be doing some too.
Yes, and we'll keep posting wherever we're signing books. We'll let you
Yep.
know so you can grab your copy before it sells out because it will.
It's not gonna sell out, but you can
It
grab your
could.
signed copy. The signed copy could sell out, that's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the signed
Okay,
copy.
not the
Yeah, yeah.
book in general, or you could just get the book on Amazon or wherever you get your books.
Yes,
So,
yes.
if
But if
you're
you
like,
want a
"I'm"
signed copy, yeah,
Yes.
definitely get that signed copy whenever we do them because they also prominently feature the books after they get
Yeah.
signed so that there's more of a chance of them being snatched up.
Yep, we actually had someone reach out to us on Instagram, so you could always do that too, of where to get the book locally in San Francisco. So we will respond to you, but Books Inc., tons of signed copies there. We
Yep.
have them at oh my god, why am I blanking? Book Passage.
Book Passage.
Yep, we
Uh-huh.
don't know for sure if those are still there because that was a while ago, but there's a few different spots in San Francisco that you could get them along with obviously other cities as well.
I know this is a wild, wild thought, but you could also call the bookstore
Yeah,
and ask.
that is a wild thought. No one's gonna do that.
I know. The other day I was like, would I rather drive 10 miles to go to this Barnes and Noble to see if our book's there? Or would I rather call? And I'm like, I rather drive
Oh
10
my god, I
miles.
would
I don't know why.
totally choose call. A hundred,
I don't,
100%,
I don't know what
100% call.
just something about talking to people on the phone. It deters me from doing it. I don't know why. I know it's a lot more convenient.
Yeah,
I somehow I'm just like, I rather just drive.
I don't have a problem with it. I used to have a big problem with phone talking and even in a dating context. Like I
Yeah.
remember like being like, back in the day when I was on dating apps and people were like, let's talk on the phone. This was like before the pandemic, a long time before. And I'm like, oh my God, they asked to talk on the phone. Like, what a
Yes.
loser. And then like I
Right.
clearly like changed my tune completely. And I was like, this is so much more efficient. And this person had it right the entire time, and I was, like, the lame one who didn't want to talk on the phone.
Yeah, I think you can. you can gauge a lot of information from talking to someone on the
Yeah.
phone. Just even their voice is
But
so telling.
why do we have that freak out though? Is it because like we're just perpetually online and we're not used to talking to people anymore? Like why does that seem like such a big deal? Because I remember when this person asked me to do it, I was like, oh hell no. Like that was my immediate
Right.
reaction.
I feel really vulnerable on a phone. I feel like there's no other distractions and this person's only paying attention to my voice. So I have to be really careful about what I say. Same thing when I leave a voice message. I don't do that anymore because I feel really exposed.
I feel like I can't even reach you on the phone. Like I'll text
No,
you and you'll
nobody
respond
can.
like immediately, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna call her because it's easier, and you just don't respond. I'm like literally texting you right before.
No, I know. It's not even I avoid that. I just don't have my ringer on.
Yeah.
Like I don't even hear it.
There was
So
like
I have
this
no
weird
idea.
time too, like I physically couldn't call you for some reason. I don't know
Oh yeah.
why, like this happened, but I was like, this is a sign that she does not want me to call her. It was like, I'm like, you need to call me. I'm like, I can't actually dial you. I don't know why.
T-Mobile's like, we're gonna disable her phone function
Yeah,
because
she
she
doesn't
never
like
uses
it.
it.
Yeah. We're doing her a favor. So this is
Yeah,
kind of a
she's good.
switch of topics, but I don't know why. Like I just like saw this on TikTok and I was like, I need to tell you about it. It was one of the
Uh-huh.
funnier things I've ever seen related to dating content. So it's this girl and she was like talking to this guy and he was like outside her house and it was like that moment like had a really good time. It was so nice to meet you and he asked to come in and she was kind of like, "No, like, it was fun, but it's a school night or whatever, like, we'll see
Uh-huh.
each other soon." So he's like, "Okay," like, really respectful and nice and totally understands, and then she closes the door, and
Yeah.
he just, like, goes off. He's just like,
I saw this
"Fucking"
too.
did you see this? And he's
Yes.
like, "Fucking asshole," like,
Bitch.
"I
Yeah.
paid for your meal," like, all this stuff, and he's
Yes.
like, literally, like, flipping off the camera, and then she has her Ring camera on. So she watched every single piece of that go down. I'm like, "That is epic." Like, so epic.
It's so terrible. It is like so terrible that like what was he thinking to do that right after she closed the door? Like go in your car and do that or like
Right.
go home and do that. But
He
he was so
wasn't thinking.
pissed.
He wasn't thinking.
He
Yeah,
wasn't
but it was
thinking.
just like, "Oh, wow," like, someone's true colors just came out.
I saw something similar. It was like a text message. It was after a date, and the guy's like, I had a really nice time. I hope to see you again for a second date. But if you don't want to see me again for a second date, please Venmo me $36 for your
Oh
meal.
my god. Oh my god. I hate the
And
Venmo.
here's my Venmo.
I had someone do that to me once. I was just like, "Fuck you.
And here's my
Seriously."
Venmo.
Like, if we just split it there, it wouldn't have been a big deal to me, but
No.
it's the after effect of, like,
Yes.
this isn't gonna be more, therefore, you need to Venmo me half, like, that to me is really messed up.
And I'm sorry, even if I wanted to go on a second date with this guy, if I got that text,
No,
game over.
definitely,
We're not doing that.
definitely.
So
I just
bad.
remember, like, when Ring cameras first came out, I was, like, leaving my
Oh yeah.
friend's, like, New Year's
Yeah.
party, and I was kinda messed up, and she, like, caught it all on camera and then just, like, sent me the footage the next day. So, I think it's really funny when, like, I mean, today, I feel like Ring cameras are, like, so, like, common. So more
Yeah.
people than not probably even have that footage that they're just, like, catching people doing weird shit after they leave.
But when was the last time you had a date walk you back to your door?
Um, it's like
Like
probably
door,
they've
door.
they've probably been on like a couple dates at that point, I feel like. Because I do
Okay.
feel like I don't know, for me at least, I don't want to speak for everyone, everyone's different. Like I feel like it's probably like a couple dates in where it could be something, but it also isn't fully there clearly. I mean, clearly this guy's expectations was that it was going somewhere.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know though. Maybe there are people on a first date that do have I mean, there's some, like, chivalry with it, but it's also creepy because you know who these people are, and do you want them knowing your address and where you live? But I think back in the day, that was very common.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, your date picks you up at your door
Yeah.
and then they drop you off at your door. I can't remember the last time someone picked me up or dropped me off at my door.
So I had this guy, and I had very mixed opinions on this, and I'll get your take on it. Like he basically like sent an Uber, but like he was in the
Yeah.
Uber. So like he
Uh-huh.
lived like across the city, and he would like the Uber was probably like at least like $30 because he lived pretty far. And he would take the Uber to pick me up door to door. But then when we went
Mhm.
out, he would always like ask to split everything. And I don't know why, to me, it was just, like, such a turn off, and I don't know what it was, because it's, like, clearly it was a nice gesture, and, like, all things aside, like, there's nothing wrong with what he did to me, and, like, I also don't have, like, a fundamental problem with splitting, but I think what really bothered me was not just, like, the splitting, that it felt so illogical to me, because 'cause I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm literally meeting you halfway to where we're
Yes.
going, like, let's just meet
Yes.
there, save the Uber fare, and then, like, pay for the dinner and, like, treat me, and then I'll feel better all in all. It'll be the
Yeah.
same money
No,
to you."
I think it's where his choices in what he's covering and what he's
Right!
not covering. That's
Like,
odd to me.
we spent, like, $50 taking an Uber to oh my god, I remember this, to a movie theater in Daly City for anyone in San Francisco, because the movie we wanted to see wasn't playing, but it was literally playing the next night, like, in San Francisco, multiple theaters. But he was like, "Oh, we're going Thursday. Well, let's go to Daly City." So I assumed he would drive because I was like, "Oh, okay. Maybe it's not that big a deal to go there." We took a effing Uber to Daly City to see a
But
movie.
then had you split the movie and
Yeah,
dinner
yeah,
before you guys got
then at the movie, it was like I think I offered to pay for the tickets because I felt so bad, but I was also like, "Why are we doing this?" Like, this just seems so illogical to me. Literally the next night, we could have walked down the street to the movie theater.
or I much rather you just get my Uber. Call me an Uber to meet you. Like, don't come all the way to me in an Uber. We need this
Yeah.
guy on our podcast. We
I
need to
don't
figure out
know.
what's
I
going
don't know if
on.
we need him. He was a little this is the same guy. Okay. This is a tangent that I did not know we were taking on this brunch talk. Love it. This also pissed me off about this guy. So it was clearly just like not a fit for many reasons. And I also just like wasn't super attracted to him. And I remember like we went on a date and we did hook up. So it's not like nothing happened. We went on
Okay,
another date and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it one more chance. Cause like he was like a good on paper guy. He had like a
okay.
lot like going for him in terms of like career and stuff that, got me back then. So we went on one more date and I'm like, okay, can I do it? Like, can I be attracted to this guy? We're sitting at this dinner and I'm like, I just can't. So I was in school at the time, like I was in like graphic design school, and I was like, oh, I have to like go back because I have this project due. And he was like going to Europe for like 3 weeks for like I don't know, some trip that he was doing. So he's like, but it's like we're not gonna see each other for 3 weeks and like this whole thing. And I was like, no, no, I have to do this project. I mean, it's basically to get out of it. Clearly, if I was into this person, I would have, you know,
Right.
the project wasn't even due. Anyways, so I was like, okay, this is gonna naturally fade, right? Because this guy's going away for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
So 3 weeks, don't hear from him at all. Another 2 weeks, don't hear from him. So I was like, okay, like this is just gonna fade out because I'm not reaching out. He's not reaching out. He texts me like probably 5 weeks like later. He's like, we need to talk. And I was like,
Oh god.
what? Yeah, he like texts me like on a Saturday night, and I was just like, I can't
Uh.
like deal with this right now. So the next day, he's like, "Can we talk?" And I was like, "Is this guy gonna like tell me he has like an STD?" But I'm like, what does he like need to talk to me about? And I was like, okay, well, I'm in like this like
Uh,
the like Whole Foods. Let me call you. And he's like, "Can you go somewhere private?" And I was just like, what is this guy gonna
wow.
tell me? So I eventually call him, and he's just like, yeah, I just don't think I'm in a place to be in a relationship right now.
You're
And
like, "Who?"
I was like, "Why was that necessary?" Because I said something first when he called. I was like, "Oh, like, how's your trip?" Just making small talk. He's like, "No, first, let me discuss this." And, like, goes
Oh my
into it.
god. It was
And I was
weighing on him.
yeah, and I was just like, "I don't care, like, at all." And then, like, after that was over, he's like, "Oh, that went a lot better than I expected." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "So, do you wanna hear about my trip?" I was just like, "I guess."
Like,
So I stayed on the phone with him for, like, another
what?
10 minutes, and I'm just like, "Okay, I need to go."
You're like, "No, I'm so heartbroken right
Yeah.
now. I can't sit through this. Bye." Call me never. So strange. I'm going to pause you. You get to witness real time if you're watching this live. Can you brush your hair back from the mic
Oh, am I
so
like
that the
hitting it? Okay.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing this
You
weird
get to
mic.
witness that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
You get to
producer
witness that
Yue.
yeah. Get to witness that in real time. Ah, yeah. No, that's just strange. I think people make some strange decisions.
Like to me, that's just like I need to get the last word. Like that's what it feels like to me.
But this is the same guy, so now I'm like, I think it's just him. There's
He's just
something
not
off about
logical.
his
Yeah.
yeah, not logical
I'd
at
love
all.
it if he
He
was
like
listening. That'd be so funny.
I know. I know. Like, are you thinking I just feel like maybe for those 5 weeks, he was building up the story like, "Oh my gosh, maybe we're not a good fit, but like, oh, but we've been dating," and, he probably had this really dramatic story built up, and
Yeah.
he's like, "I really gotta talk to her. I really gotta end this before it
I mean,
backfires."
we did date for like a couple months. Like it was never serious, but I remember it was like around my 30th birthday. And I remember being like,
Mm,
should I invite him? I don't really want him
mm.
there. But he kept like asking what I was doing, and it was just like I think dateable, Julie, I did not work we did not do dateable back then. I would have closed the door. I would have been honest. I think back then I was
Yeah,
immature. I didn't really know how to handle it. So to me, it was easier just to let it fade away.
yeah,
In retrospect, he didn't do anything wrong. I think the approach and the dramatic like aspect of it was a little much.
yeah.
But
Also timing,
yeah.
like 5 weeks?
Yeah, like, do you need to do a phone call at that point? Like, I feel like you could just be like, "Hey, like, we both haven't reached out. Like, does this just
Yeah,
mean this isn't the right fit? You know,
yeah,
it's been great getting to know you. Best of luck."
exactly. Yeah,
Like,
best of
does
luck,
that need
bye.
a phone call that you're like, you need to be in private to discuss this? I was like,
Yeah,
what is this guy gonna
that would
tell
be
me?
so jarring. That would be so jarring. If this were flipped, the guy would be like, "Is she pregnant?" Like,
Yes, that's what I
there's
was like
something
thinking. I was like, it
dire.
can't be because it's like physically not possible. But I was like, that was what was going on in my head.
Yeah, like, yeah, does he have an STD? Does he, yeah, have a disease, another
Yeah.
kind of disease? Eesh.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
dodged a bullet. He saved you.
I would die if he like calls in. He's like, "Yeah, I'm still listening to this podcast." I do remember his name fully. Anyways, we're gonna move on. You know how like there's like some people that you date that you're like, I don't remember their name at all. But there's some people you're like first and last name, I got it. I remember
Yeah,
this guy.
you remember him. Have you run into him since?
Yeah, I did a few times. I think
Oh, you did?
I don't think I said hello any of the times, but I definitely around.
And then you should have texted him and been like, "I know it's really awkward running into each other, seeing exes on the
Actually,
street." That would be hilarious.
I think he came to 500 brunches a couple of times.
Oh.
I think because we were, like, connected on LinkedIn. Anyways, this is a long saga of this guy that really was not important in my life at all. I'm not sure how we got on this topic, but here we are.
Oh, we do have a viewer question. I'm gonna take this really
Yeah.
quick. Hi, I'm single, live in the Bay Area, dated men and women, and open to dating poly people, overall open-minded to alternative dating lifestyles. Ladies, do you know of any groups, organizations to meet like-minded people in the Bay
Ooh,
Area? We do. I forget the name of it.
I don't know if it still runs anymore, to be honest.
Really? There is a
Yeah.
we've actually done quite a bit of content with this group,
Yeah, but I'm
but
not sure if they're still in existence.
do you remember the name? Oh my goodness.
Totally blanking.
Me too. Let's see. Uh, I think one resource you can tap into is Field, the app,
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
on there you can ask people which organizations or groups that they belong to. I just know that these groups are constantly changing,
Mhm.
so we're probably not in the know anymore, but we used to work with one organization quite a bit. Yeah, you're right. I don't think they're really doing anything now. Yeah.
Um,
Gosh, what were they called?
Orchid
Uh,
House, that's their name. There's
oh,
Oregon House,
yes,
but I don't
yes.
think they exist anymore, and I wish we had, like, a better thing for you.
Uh, Organ House.
Yeah, I don't think it exists,
No,
sadly.
I don't. Oh, OH, OH. No, the last post was from 2022.
Yeah. But we
Uh,
definitely recommend there's actually a lot of podcasts too that we actually just did a swap with Multi-Amory podcast that talks a
mm-hmm.
lot. I think even like on Eventbrite and like it's so mainstream now that you can actually find this in a lot of different places.
Yeah. So definitely go on Field,
Yeah,
and
definitely
find
check out
resources
Field.
there. I think
Yep.
there's a lot there. And uh yeah, and then there's this woman named Kathy. Um I'm just gonna send you the link. I
Yeah,
don't
sorry,
think I'm
this is
really,
not
yeah,
the
yeah,
best answer. We apologize, but we definitely encourage you to check out resources and to explore, and we'll try to get back to you with more.
yeah. Great.
Okay, I did
That's a
want
good
to
question.
talk about one thing that came up in our Facebook group. So we had a post in our Facebook group, and I'm curious your opinion anyway, because there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
differing opinions.
Mm,
So one of our group members shared that they had asked someone that they were talking to on a dating app, "Are you a happy person?" And when like this is through a dating app conversation. And then like
yeah.
the woman on the receiving end was very perplexed and she said, "That's an odd question. No one has ever asked me that." Within a minute, she ended the chat by blocking me. And he was
Mm,
like, "Did I say something wrong?"
mm.
What's your take? If you got that text.
I think it's an odd question, personally. I think it's an odd question, even if my friends asked me that. But what is the
Yeah.
community saying? What are they divided
There
on?
was I think a lot of people were saying that I mean, people were saying that like sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not. We're complex human
Yeah.
beings, and it just might be like the day. Some people thought it felt like it was kind of like you're like trying to like weed people out that aren't happy. Some people thought it wasn't
Mm,
necessarily
like a
like
trick question.
yeah, like some people thought like it wasn't like maybe like inclusive of people that had mental health challenges.
Mm, that's a
Other
good point.
people said, like, there's nothing wrong with it, like, an old version of me would have been, like, reluctant, but the new version that wanted to go deep would be down, so I think it depended on who it was too. I think another
Mm,
person, like, asked, like, "When was this post? Was this, like, in the first, like, questions, or had you met in person yet?" And it was,
right.
like, through Messenger. I think the context I think it would be a little jarring to just get that, like, in a text message, like, "Where do you
Yeah,
live?
with no
What's your
context.
occupation? Are you happy?"
Are you happy?
Like
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that piece, like, I think it could if it was, like, worked in more naturally in a conversation and people were like, "Okay, can you reframe it to be like, what is a moment that made you happy?" Or, like, "What does happiness mean to you?" And I think that little reframe actually could be a lot. I do think there is something that's like the "Are you happy?" It almost feels like a test. Like if I don't answer yes, like
Mhm.
then you don't want to date me. And I think like that part I would feel like turned off. I don't know if I would like immediately block the person. Like that feels like an extreme reaction
Yeah,
also.
I agree. I wouldn't block the person, but I'd be curious.
I'd
Why are
ask
you asking the
more.
question?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what do you mean by that question? And
Right.
what are you hoping to glean from
That's
my
what I
answer
would
to that
do.
question? Yeah.
Yeah, and someone said too, like they recognize that like dating app combos are awkward and like they wouldn't
Yes.
necessarily draw like too much. But that's what I would do. I'd ask follow ups. I think my initial instinct would be a little like kind of
It's a little
caught
odd.
off guard. But I don't know if
Yeah.
I would be like they are done because they asked that question.
Yeah. And I might even say that. I think it's an odd question. Why are you asking? Or
Yeah,
what yeah, what's your end goal in asking that question? And really would be curious. Legitimately. I want to know.
and I don't want our listener that like actually wrote this to feel bad because I do think like their intention was probably in the right place. It was more just like the delivery. And I think that's
Yeah.
actually the reality with most things. Like you could say the same thing, but in slightly different ways, and it has a very
Yes.
different meaning to it. So I think that's like an important thing to note.
I mean, the thing is, we always say, we've been saying this for so long, like, you gotta be different on dating apps to like break the mold of what most people ask. So I actually commend this person for asking something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. And as someone, Vanessa Van Edwards, someone we've had on our show, she's like blowing up right now. She's all about reading human connection and how to breed human connection. She talks about how we need to break the pattern of how we communicate with people. Otherwise, we just default. For
Yeah.
example, if someone asks you, "How are you?" our default answer is always good. So her take is like answer with some random answer so that it breaks someone out of that default way of thinking and then they're paying attention. Like she says, I just say a number, like, how are you? And she goes, 7. And
That
then the
would be
person
so awkward though
would be
to
so
get that.
awkward, right? But I guess, like, in this context, I would say I commend you for breaking the mold and for
Yeah,
getting people out of default thinking, but you have to almost follow that up with a reason so that people know why you're asking the question and not just
right.
asking for the sake of asking a different question.
Can you imagine if it's like, "How are you?" and you're like, "8." Like, that would
Yeah.
be so weird.
No, but it would stop someone in their tracks
Well,
and ask you,
yeah,
"What does that
but
mean?"
you'd
And then
also be
maybe,
like, "What the F?"
"What the
Yeah.
heck?" Yeah. What is that? What is that
Especially
about?
on a dating app, if that was said.
Right. Right, yeah. But if someone blocks you because of you saying something that is out of the ordinary, then that's on them. I think it's like, okay, that person obviously is not e ready to accept this
Yeah.
or to see this new way of conversing, so let them go on their way. Has nothing it doesn't say much about you. I think it says a lot more about them.
Yeah, or they were, like, offended by it for some reason because maybe they were struggling with something. I
True.
agree, it's
Yeah.
still not, like, your fault, but I do think, like, maybe it's a good reminder of, like, we don't really know what people are going through on the other side. So, like, having these things that feel like they're I don't know, like, they need more context maybe or, like, questions that you
Yeah.
would ask if you actually knew someone. I think, like, if you ask your best friend, like, "Are you happy?" That's very different than, like, going up to a stranger and being like, "Are you happy?" And it's the same question, it's just in a different context because you don't know that person.
I agree with you. I definitely think that. But as the person who is offended by a question like that, I it's also on me to explain that,
Yeah,
right? Because like by me just blocking you, that actually
I
doesn't give
agree.
you any more information. You don't know that I was offended.
I mean, the whole
So it
exchange yeah, the whole
yeah,
exchange
both
is
people need
yeah,
to give more context. That's just have a conversation.
yeah. I do think the shortcutting though, like, this it feels a little date review to me of, like, "Are you happy? Check. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go on a date." I do think,
Yeah.
like, that piece of, like, asking questions that are more interview style, it just never lands well. It's so
Yeah.
much better to, like, go out and see their temperament, and the reality is, are you gonna know, like I don't know, I also feel like that "Are you happy?" Like, there are days that I'm really happy. There's days I'm not happy at all. Does that make you like an incapable partner? I don't think so. Like, I don't think you need to be
Yeah,
happy
it's a strange question.
24/7 to be a good partner to someone.
It's a strange question. I would rather ask what makes you happy.
Yeah,
When was the last time you were really excited about
totally.
something? That gives me more information. But are you generally a happy person? I don't know. That doesn't give me any information.
Yeah. Are you on a lot of meds? I don't know, like, what does that even
Yeah.
mean?
Are you
Like,
fucked up?
you're like
are, are you generally a fucked up person?
yeah.
I'd rather get that
Oh
answer
my
or that
god.
question.
That's what you're gonna get. Just go to
Yeah.
the root. If you're gonna get blocked anyways, just go all
Yeah.
out.
How fucked up are you on a scale 1 to 10?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. You stand out for sure.
I would die. That'd be funny. I'd be like it would a you could actually, like, run with that. It could be
I think
actually very
so.
entertaining. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm just I want you to take a survey.
yeah.
Scale 1 to 10.
Okay, well, I'm glad that we were able to discuss that. I think it's always fun to, like, hear some of these anecdotes and, it's just wild misinterpretations, and especially when
Mhm.
things are in written form on dating apps, text messages, whatever. There's just so many ways you can interpret the situation.
Seriously. Seriously. Thanks for that question. You can send in your dating questions by emailing us, hello@dateablepodcast.com. You can DM us on Instagram at dateablepodcast. You can comment here on YouTube if you're watching right now. Or best yet is if you give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you can post something, give us 5 stars. And in the body of your review, you can ask a question there. And then we'll bump it up to the top of the list and make sure your question gets answered ASAP.
See you next week.
Bye.